So welcome to day 3. I'm super gratified that you're here and excited that you're here and can't wait to get into today's content with you. And I'm just going to get started. Let's see. So at the end of 2015, I was at a mastermind with these amazing business owners. I sat around with all of them at this big mastermind table. They were all like super powerful business owners, 7-figure business owners, many of them. And one by one, we were to go around the room and talk about our goals for 2016. So everybody's talking about their big goals and their rah-rah, how I'm going to make even more money next year. And when it was my turn, I swear I could only whisper, I just don't want to work. I literally, that's all I said. And I felt ashamed, but nothing else would come out. So I don't know if it was burnout or dark night of the soul or midlife crisis or whatever it was, but every cell in my body wanted not to work. Fortunately, my colleagues, at least most of them, I think, did not judge me. And what they did instead was they coached me and they encouraged me to take a break and to travel, since they knew how important that was to me. So they said, go. And so I went. A little bit less than 2 months later, I left on my first leg of my travel, and that was to Norway in the dead of January to view the amazing Northern Lights. And it was, as you can imagine, a profound experience that I will never, ever forget in my life, and one of the highlights. I also took a trip to one of my bucket list destinations. That's Bruges, Belgium. I don't know if any of you have ever been there, but if not, put it on your bucket list because it's also amazing. I rented a car and I drove to France, and of course, ate from the incredible French bakeries, visited a friend or two, and then drove back to Amsterdam, where I spent quite a bit of time walking around this city. And again, this is January, and it's a really lovely time to travel when there aren't any other tourists and you can see what the real Amsterdam is like. When I got back, I discovered that my sweet dog of 15 years, had been diagnosed with cancer. And so I spent 2 months hospicing her. I slept on the couch downstairs so she didn't have to climb the stairs. And I took her on slow walks so that she could just tell me wherever she wanted to go. It was really beautiful. And when she left, I still wasn't ready to come back to work. So I joined a friend in exploring the Greek island of Crete, which was the site of the awful hike that I mentioned on Wednesday that I wrote about to my audience. This was the very end of that awful hike. Thank goodness it had a nice ending. And that still wasn't enough. So I rented out my house for 5 months and I started exploring another part of the world that I'd been curious about, beginning in Prague. I looked into my son's paternal heritage among the Jews of Warsaw, Poland. It was amazing. I was talking to my son about having discovered the place where I think his ancestors owned a tailor shop. And I realized that the Starbucks I was sitting in was where their tailor shop had been. It was quite profound. And this is the cemetery where his great-grandmother was buried. I discovered this hill of crosses in Lithuania. I heard the most amazing church organ recitals ever in Latvia and just adored Estonia. I really want to go back there. And then Moscow, which was amazing. Now, on my return, I stopped off in New York City, picked up a friend, and then went to Buenos Aires, where I studied tango, and then with another friend explored a little bit of Uruguay. That was where I think I really fully relaxed. And that was just the first year. So what I thought was just going to be 6 months turned into 1 year, and then 1 year turned into 2 years. And to this day, I call it my magical sabbatical. And it feels like I rewired myself during that time. Like I literally cannot overwork ever again. And it freed my spirit so that not only did I return fully refreshed to this work that I'm sharing with you now, but also at the end of my magical sabbatical, I also started a new business, Adventurous Life, where in non-global pandemic times, we take entrepreneurs ages 40 and above to destinations around the world for a month at a time. We live like locals, work on our businesses, explore with a ready-made community of travel-loving business owners. I had not been saving for a sabbatical. It was a sudden decision that I made 2 months before leaving on that first leg of that 2-year experience. So how did I manage to travel all this time while not being active in my business? Well, the bottom line is I was able to do this, to take this time and have these experiences because of my audience. And I mean that literally. I funded my 2-year magical sabbatical by taking my audience with me on my trips and continuing to nurture them and provide value in my emails, and then sending an occasional offer email here or there with products and programs to buy that I'd already made. So no fancy webinars, no launches, no creating new programs, just occasional offer emails. And that is why I am so passionate about teaching people how to build and nurture and monetize their own audience, because it can change your life, literally. So welcome to Your Audience, Your Way Bootcamp. This is our third and final installment. The workshop that I'm hosting this week is walking you through the process and the opportunity that becomes available to you when you build an engaged online audience. So now you may remember in bootcamp day number 1, we went over how to use archetypes, your archetype, to build your audience in a way that's enjoyable and aligned with who you are. And then in bootcamp day number 2, we covered that critical middle piece before you start selling your stuff to your audience, building and nurturing a valued relationship. Now, if you missed day 1 or day 2, we are going to re-release the replay of those 2 over the weekend. So you can be sure to get it all. And I highly, highly recommend that you do, because these 3 topics, build your email list, nurture your email list, and then sell to it, they are all essential ingredients and integral to your success in getting clients and filling programs online. We do have this today. I'm just letting you know that that is coming up. I loved your homework entries from yesterday. There were some seriously good article topics that you sent in. I was like, they got this. They really got this. And I read all of your bonus personal stories. If you sent one in, I stayed up late last night reading all the stories. They were fantastic. Thank you for those. And some were eye-popping, some were hilarious, some were uplifting. Really, really marvelous. I can't wait to see what you do with more of your personal story writing. So now we are going to head into this fundamental question, like how do you turn the audience building strategies of your choice and the nurturing that you do to build the relationship into moolah, right? Now, most people get into business for themselves for 3 main reasons. Freedom is a big one, especially location freedom and time freedom. Impact is a huge one, at least with the people that I work with. They want to make an impact on other people's lives, on their communities, on the planet. And money. I'm in business to make money. I don't know about you, but money's a big driver, right? So I'm curious to know, and if you would please humor me by putting in the chat, and then Chung, you can read a few, will kind of give me a sense of where the numbers are falling. which is your guiding light of those three? Which is your North Star? You see the little star at the top of the slide? Freedom, impact, money. Which of these is the most northernmost star?
So I see a lot of freedom, a lot of impact, some money.
Which seems to be the biggest?
Ooh, it's money, freedom, impact.
All the above.
It's all the above.
Well, I know it's all the above. Most
Yeah.
of us are there for all the above, but for some of us, like for me, it's a clear freedom is the biggest winner for me. So if you're having trouble deciding between the three, just get the one that gets your gut the most.
Definitely a lot of freedom.
Cool.
And I mean, to get freedom, you need money.
This is true.
And once you have,
But some people don't care so much about freedom, and they mostly care about money, and that's fine. That's a fine place to be. All right. So the thing is, you're right. To earn the freedom and to earn the money and to make a bigger impact, you actually have to monetize your audience. And that's what we're here to talk about today. So what does monetize your audience actually mean? You might think you know, but I can tell you what it doesn't mean. It does not mean throwing things at them, hoping they'll buy, hoping something will stick on the wall, so to speak. Instead, what you want to do is to find out what your audience wants and needs, and then offer that via email. Make your offers via email. So let me show you in real numbers how substantially your income can grow with what I call a freedom offer. It's an offer that creates freedom for you. So we'll start saying you have 15 clients. This is where a lot of people are. So that's why I start with this. So you have 15 clients, you see them regularly enough, you charge about 120 an hour. For our purposes, that's the number we're going to use here. And so because of the 15 clients, you have about 15 client hours per week. And that brings you a monthly revenue of $7,500. So then let's say bit by bit, you bring on more clients and your roster doubles. And so now you're averaging a monthly revenue of $15,000 and you're working really hard. You've got 30 client hours a week that you're working. You hardly have any time for anything outside of work, and you've topped out income-wise because you just can't take on any new clients. Even if you raised your rate, your income is still going to be limited by the number of hours that you work. You know this. This is not news to you. So let's say that you start growing your audience and you begin to offer some sort of a group program to your consistently growing audience. And you get to a place where you can count on at least 50 people from all around the world enrolling each time you offer enrollment in your program. So let's say you offer a month-long program for $500. And it takes 3 hours a week to deliver because it's to a group, not to individuals. So your revenue for that month, for that one program, is $25,000, right? So we're talking 30 hours a week for $15,000 versus 3 hours a week for $25,000. Yes, please. Raise your hand if that sounds good to you. Marcy, San Diego, Terry. Come on, it sounds good, doesn't it? I'm sure there are way more than 17 or 20 people that sounds good to. The thing is that having an audience that you can make that type of offer to will both raise your income and lower the amount of time that you'll need to work. Hence the common refrain, work less, make more. You actually do work less and make more. So that shows you the math behind just one type of freedom offer, a group program. And there are a lot of other options that you have available to you. Having a growing online audience actually increases the types of offers that you can make to your ideal clients. And the best thing is it makes having caps on your income a total thing of the past. The bottom line really is that the opportunities available to you to make good money multiply exponentially when you have a loyal and engaged audience of just the right people. So what we're going to do next is to look at some of the different types of offers that you can make when you have an engaged and responsive audience that you've nurtured well. And my goal for you is for you to find at least 1 to 3 types of offers that could be a good fit for you, a good fit for your business and for your goals, right? So I want you to let yourself be open to possibility here. If you find yourself thinking, oh, I couldn't do that, let that thought just float away, right? This is a different you that we're talking about. This is a you that has developed a nice sized list in a way that feels really natural and enjoyable, and who has nurtured the relationship with that audience really well. And then I'm going to show you how your offers can become a real logical and simple progression of offerings that start to ramp up your earnings and also serve your growing audience in deeper ways. So we're going to start with the client offer matrix, which is a way to organize and understand the wealth of offer options that you have when you develop an online audience. So on the top, you have high touch and low touch. High touch generally means that there's a lot of you in the product or program or service. Low touch means that you can deliver the product or program or service with very little of you needing to be present. On the left, one-to-one setting, it's just you and your client. I think that's pretty clear to most people. And then one-to-many is a situation in which you are teaching or showing or leading multiple people, groups of people. Now, one-to-many is where the biggest benefit of an online audience clicks in. These are really, truly what we call freedom offers, because they free up your time while increasing your income, because you're leveraging your growing audience. But growing an online audience also works really well for one-on-one high ticket offers, because you need a large pool of people to find those few who are willing to pay your premium rates. So we're going to go through these. I think there's about 17 or 18. And as I go through them, think for yourself whether this sounds like something you'd like to offer to your growing audience. And if you offer some of these already, then look for what you might be able to add to your offerings, especially as your list grows. Be sure to write these down. That's my tip to you right now. Write them down, and write them down somewhere where you will see them every day. Don't write them in a journal. Don't write them in a notebook, because that's going to get closed up and, put aside at the very least. I don't know about you, but I have run across notes in a notebook before that I took at a conference or something like that, with ideas that were really pretty good and that I forgot about because they were out of sight, out of mind. Take a quick slug. So in the high touch one-to-one segment, quarter, you could say, you've got client sessions. That's what we've been talking about. That's pretty normal, one-on-one client sessions. You've got done for you services, like web design or, and there's any number of done for you services. Even if you're a fitness trainer and you're not actually doing the working out of your client, obviously their body is doing the working out, you still might be there at their house one-to-one, VIP consultation packages. These are often done on a single day or an afternoon or even a weekend. And they involve very in-depth strategy work and putting together a plan. And then oftentimes they include follow-up coaching. If they're good, they include follow-up coaching. And then in the low touch segment, one-to-one in a low touch way, it's kind of like, what would that be? Well, actually, if you have a subcontractor who does the work, you contract the business, subcontractor does the work, you still earn some of the money from that particular contract. So that's a good low touch one-to-one. And then email or text only coaching, which a colleague of mine teaches a version of that is really phenomenal. So that's a low touch one-to-one way of doing coaching. Now in the one-to-many section, we have coaching and therapy groups, training courses. And when I say training courses in this quadrant, I mean they're live, they have support built in, some sort of coaching. They're hands-on, right? Mastermind groups. Oftentimes people will gather a group of peers and then be the facilitator so that these peers can, help each other make progress. So mastermind groups are a really great way to do one-to-many in a high touch way. Workshops and retreats, again, one-to-many in a high touch way, and you could do these virtual or in person. And something that I often really love, like I've been exploring this way before the pandemic happened, this ability to do what used to be just in-person classes, but virtually. So fitness classes, yoga classes, dance classes, that totally exploded during the pandemic. And certification programs. So if you have a particular methodology that you use to do your work, you could teach others and certify others to do what you do in a program. Again, high touch, but one-to-many. Now in the one-to-many low touch range, which is a really nice place to be because you're serving a lot of people and it's not requiring a whole lot of you. You've got done for you products, and this is distinct from the done for you services. So these are already done for you and you don't have to do them. It's not a service you're providing, it's a product they're buying. Training courses that are more like info products. In other words, they don't have the support components, they don't have the live components. They don't have the, the Q&A components, that sort of thing. So still a valid, for the right people, getting it lower cost, doing it for themselves is fine. Subscription services. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Physical products. Some people who have an expert-based business also will have physical products like card decks or affirmation candles or dog collars or whatever. And physical products are in the low touch quadrant because you can have them drop shipped, so you just pull it all together and then have them drop shipped. Other people's products, you earn commission just for sending emails. And then membership clubs. So your turn. What is one new offer that you can see yourself making to your growing audience? Whether it's a new additional one or it's a new first one. And then Chung, you can share some of those.
So we have books, there's certification. People are saying evergreen courses, masterminds. Another book, group, mastermind, training courses, continuing education classes, a couple more training courses, some ebooks, some support groups.
Nice. Good. So you're thinking about it. That's great. I can see that. I want to give you a little tiny side training here on done for you products, because it's just an area that I have some expertise in, and it's something that most people don't think of. So it's a little mini training within the training here. They're usually very easy to create. It could be something really cool that you can add to your business to be kind of like a low cost offer, a way to get people initially opening their wallets to you. So, and something that I want to say, a lot of people think, oh, well, because I'm a coach or I'm a financial planner or I'm a healer or something, like there's no done for you that I can do. And it's a common misconception. You can almost always find something done for you that would be valuable to your audience. For a long time, I was a writer, and I thought the only way to make money was with my services. It was very much a one-on-one clients kind of business at the time, essentially a done for you writing service. And then I discovered how to do done for you products, leveraging the low touch, many one-to-many quadrant. As I said, that's a really great place to be. And so writing became a done for you product that I offered versus a done for you service. So let me just give you a teeny tiny little training here. So to create a done for you product, you start by asking these two main questions. What does my audience need, or what would be super helpful to them? And what do my clients have a hard time doing or getting around to doing? Now, just to give you an example, one of my done for you products is Ready to Go articles, which are professionally written articles on tons of different topics that my clients can download, edit, and use as their own to put in their newsletter or on their website. So answering those two questions about my audience, their need is to nurture their audience. That's their need. And the thing that they have a hard time doing or getting around to is writing that nurture content. Right? So that's how you do it for your business. And just as a reminder, there's a bonus when you join my Your Audience Your Way program. You get 24 of these bad boys. So here are just a few done for you product ideas that can help you get your creativity flowing. Templates or spreadsheets. So these would be like fill in the blank worksheets or ready-made forms. I'm going to give you a few examples. Let's say you're a fitness coach. You could create a document that helps your clients track their body measurements, their fat loss, their water consumption. Or if you are a professional organizer, you could create a fill in the blank journal for keeping all household information. So as we're going through these, just start letting the ideas kind of percolate in your mind as to what might work for you. Pre-written materials. So let's say you're a money coach. You could create a list of money mindset affirmations, right? You could laminate it so that people can stick it on their bedside and say them every night before they go to bed. And in addition to that, you could package it with a set of audio money motivation messages for a really nice done for you set. That adds value. The more done for you items that you put together in a package, that adds value and can increase the amount that you charge for it. Or if you are a communications consultant for small retail businesses, you could create a list of high converting subject lines specifically for retail stores. And then if you wanted to create a package, you could add done for you ad templates for a really nice little package set, done for you package set. Directories. Let's say you coach professional speakers. You could offer a directory of all event management associations in the country, and potentially even event managers. Or you work with clients maybe on gaining visibility via podcasts. So you could offer a directory of podcast hosts, and you could even divide it by topic so that they can just look at the topic that interests them. And you could have contact information too. You could make it more and more and more valuable. And then you could package that with a template for your for a query letter and for a bio that somebody would want to send to a podcast host. And that is a really nice little done for you package. And then scripts. There's a really good chance that your clients and your prospects struggle to say certain things, within the parameters of the topic that you work with them on. So done for you scripts and phrases can be really, really helpful to your people who are stuck for words. Like what to say when a prospective client says they can't afford it, or what to say to an abusive coworker, or what to say to your romantic partner to get out of a fight. The list could just go on and on and on. So that was just your mini little bonus training. And I'm curious to know, raise your hand if you had any ahas about a done for you product that you might create for yourself. If you did, just raise your hand. Great. I'm happy to see that. I love done for you. And I just think it's so great and so underutilized. Fantastic. Okay, so now we want to look at something I call the profit pyramid. The profit pyramid is a really great decision-making tool to use in conjunction with the client offer matrix when you're deciding what your offers are going to be and where a new offer fits in with your other offers. So what you generally want is for there to be a logical progression through your offerings, from low commitment free offers to increasing levels of investment, investment of your audience's dollars and investment of your time. And of course, increased value and results along with that. Without a logical progression like this, your offerings could be kind of all over the place. They, I think even more important than being all over the place is that you might be unwittingly failing to meet the deeper needs of your audience, and in the process, denying yourself some good income opportunities. So let me show you how to use the profit pyramid so that you can avoid that. So the first level is your free level. This is where your opt-in freebie or freebies live. And you can definitely have several of these for sure. In fact, I think it's a really great idea to have multiple free things to give away in exchange for someone opting in for your email list. But you got to start with one, right? And if you're like a lot of solopreneurs, an opt-in freebie is one of those things that you've been meaning to get around to, but haven't created yet. And a lot of times it's because you don't really know what makes a good one or what should be in it and how to create it and where to put it and just a gazillion questions, right? So just FYI, you will definitely dial in a rock star opt-in freebie in the Your Audience, Your Way program. And you'll have me and your fellow classmates be giving you feedback on what you create. So just a little FYI there. Now, when your next level up, you want to have a lower priced introductory offer, introducing them to you, to your work, to the value that you provide, to the way and the style that you teach, or that you, whatever the product is that you do business, right? And it's generally speaking at a price point ranging from $47, sometimes even less, to about $397. It's a great place to have like a short pre-recorded self-study course on a very, very targeted topic, like not everything you know about something, but a very, very small targeted topic that you know your audience is eager to learn and that you can deliver in, say, 4 modules or something like that. There are tons and tons of different things that you can create that are appropriate introductory offers. And this is something that I coach students on a lot in my program. Now, moving up to the third level of the profit pyramid, you will begin adding more of you in your offers. The value to the client goes up and your rate, the price you charge, goes up as well. And generally speaking, again, these are broad ranges because it really depends on you, your business, your audience, et cetera. So these are very broad ranges, but a mid-range offer is generally speaking going to be about 500 to 6,000, right? For some people, 6,000 would be the very top of the pyramid. For others, it would be this next level down. So what works really well at this level is what's known as a hybrid online training course that incorporates education and coaching. I would consider the Your Audience Your Way program to be a mid-range offer, for example. And then at the top, often, generally speaking, not always, but generally speaking, you might have one-on-one services, or you could have your highest touch offer in your one-to-many quadrant, right? You might have a mastermind that is like I belong to a mastermind right now that we pay $1,000 to join. And so it could, anyway, there are a lot of different possibilities, but it's highest touch client work and could be like a VIP experience or an international transformational retreat or a corporate contract. These would be your high-end, highest end pyramid offers. And the range varies so widely that I didn't put it in there. I didn't put a price. So I'm going to give you some examples just so you see this in action. So for this person, we are going to pretend that I know this leadership expert, or that I am a leadership expert, right? So I might have as my free list building offer, the 7 essential leadership skills every dog owner knows, and you should too. That's my freebie. And then I might have a 4-week mini course delivered by email, predominantly, how to revolutionize team productivity by honing your listening skills. So it's a very, very targeted, very focused thing, just listening skills. That's it. And the next level up would be a 4-month training program with group coaching. And I just decided that the name was the Heart-Based Team Leader in Action. So that would likely have both training and coaching and possibly even some one-on-one opportunities packaged into that one program. And then at the very top, corporate team coaching contracts. Why not? Those are bound to be quite lucrative. So show of hands, for how many people was this helpful? I always want to make sure I'm providing helpful information. Good. Okay, good. I'm glad to see that. And then, Chung, if you could lower hands, and then I have another question for you. For how many of you are feeling nervous or anxious about building an audience and sending them emails and making offers? Yeah, I know. I'm laughing because I relate. Yeah, so I want you to know that this is extremely normal, and I got you. I got you. So putting yourself out there like that can feel really scary. And I wanted to kind of take you through a conversation that I had with a woman that I introduced you to. I think it was in day 1, could have been day 2. Gretchen Kean was my online business manager, and then she jumped off to go create her own business. And she has some good things to say about what that experience was like for her, and including the building the audience part. She first heard the name of her business, Daughters Rising, like an intimate whisper in her ear that got louder. It was a very surreal experience to her. And for a second, she was just like filled with awe and inspiration. And then she just felt this flood of fear wash over her entire body. And she says, I felt my heart racing and a weight on my chest as if I couldn't breathe. Whatever this fear was, it was deep in my body, in my blood, in my bones. This wave of fear was tethered to the very essence of my business. So each time she would go and write a newsletter, instead of, oh, I know what it, sorry, I missed a part. The fear was about being seen and of being rejected, of failure, of being persecuted. And that fear really held her back from building an audience and from sharing her wisdom with them, and even from crafting any kind of paid offers for them. So she said, each time I would go to write a newsletter, instead of focusing on what I wanted to say, I would be overwhelmed by a sense of dread. What would they think? How would they react? Why am I even writing to them? In my head, I envisioned eye rolls and talking behind my back and laughter. And a part of her felt as if she was kind of on trial with every word that she wrote and every offer that she made. She realized eventually that a part of herself was really just judging her decision to become an entrepreneur. The truth was, I was scared. She says, scared I would mess up, scared I wouldn't be able to support my family, scared of wasting time, money, and energy, scared I wasn't good enough, scared I would have to go back to a corporate world where I didn't fit in, scared I would be forced to leave my children and the flexibility that working for myself allowed for me as a mother and caregiver, scared of failure. And it really took her a full year for this wall of fear to crumble and for her to fully claim the name that had been whispered to her and to launch daughtersrising.net. And she said, I can now freely write the words that flow from my heart to the hearts of my readers without worrying what they may think. I can now create programs and craft offers knowing they will be welcomed by those who feel called. I can celebrate unsubscribes knowing I choose not to wallow in pity or guilt, but to celebrate and bless them. For it makes more space for those who are ready and willing and able to be in the community that I'm co-creating. I just love the way that Gretchen articulates the inner experience that is so common among those of us daring to be in business for ourselves. It's not unusual. Her experience is not unusual. Every business owner has, at some time or another, some sort of experience of fear. It usually comes up with, when you're doing something new, when you're claiming, I know something, when you're making offers and asking for money, when you're inviting attention. Oh my God, they're going to look at me, they're going to see me. And when you are ready to grow. So if you're feeling something like that, just remember that when fear is holding you back or crushing your confidence, you're not free. And of course, the opposite of that is true also. When you courageously step forward and you say yes to yourself and yes to your business, even if it's a little bit scary, you are free. And I personally want to see more people start living their freedom because it has ripple effects around the globe that I want to be a part of and support. And there's this lovely quote that I really want, I love sharing it because it's a very important premise. And so I'm sharing it with you. And it's from a fellow named Howard Thurman, who was a civil rights leader in the 60s, I believe. And he says, don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive and go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Oh, I love that so much. So what happens when you come alive through the freedom in your life that you create with your audience-based business? What happens for the clients that you're able to reach and support by developing and serving your audience? Well, good things. Good things happen for you, and good things happen for the people that you'll attract to your audience when you come alive. So I truly hope that you will join me for Your Audience Your Way. We are coming to the big drum roll moment. Will you be a winner for the spot in Your Audience Your Way? Let's see, it's very soon. So I told you about Anne Ryan and her team discovering during my program that they were so much more than a thank you card company, that they were actually starting a movement of thankfulness that they were going to start inside of companies and corporations. They have quadrupled their audience in less than a year, developed 2 new courses, written 2 new books, started this huge podcast blitz. And I told you about this single mom, Desiree, who's very involved in unschooling, the unschooling form of education, and how the act of taking members from her very large, sort of organically grown Facebook group over to her own email list and then into a paid membership program was melting her heart. And then I told you about Susan and the creative audience building event that we brainstormed that is raising money for Ukraine animals and promoting local businesses and exposing lots of people to her talents and growing her own audience. And I told you about Rabbi Daniel Grunewald and how, as he expands his list, he's going to be able to help Orthodox Jews around the world with dispute resolution rather than working only one-on-one, one client at a time, only in the London, UK area. And so I wanted to share one more story with you. I want you to meet Carol Ward. Carol was a therapist for 20 years, 15 of which she also did coaching. And she more recently focused on confidence coaching. And then a horrible, horrible medical reaction to some medication left her ill for 5 years, which if you know her now is shocking because she is so alive and vibrant, but it incapacitated her for 2 solid years during that 5-year period. So her business ground to a halt. She lost her office, she lost clients, almost all of her clients. And she joined my program about a year after having emerged from that experience. And she was rebuilding her program and she knew what she wanted, but not how to achieve it. She says, I was very frustrated with how do I take my material, my expertise and move it forward? And what surprised me, she says, is what I was missing in terms of the nuts and bolts. Now in class, she was known as 2 Questions Carol because she always raised her hand in the coaching sessions and said, I have 2 questions. And so one of her fellow classmates made a t-shirt for her that just said 2 questions at the top. That's a testament to the kind of community that develops in our courses. And she has tripled her list now to just shy of 1,500 in less than a year. And building and nurturing her audience is now something that she says is easy and natural. She knows exactly what to do. She says, as a result of the course, it became much less overwhelming. It just became part of what I do. It's just part of who she is now. So this is all stuff that you could figure out your own, right? Information, dime a dozen on the internet, you could learn it, but then you'd have to trial and error it to see what works and what doesn't work. Or you can take a shortcut and lean into my years of experience and my years of trial and error myself to help you get there faster. So I would love to invite you to join my program, the Your Audience Your Way, and I can guarantee your success in just 1 year. And you don't have to do all this. All you have to do is what we'll do together is finding the way or ways that work for you. Attracting your audience your way means that you can stick to just a few simple audience building strategies and maybe even just one if you really rock it, right? Because that's all you need. You need one method that works for you. And so the way to do that is through my program, Your Audience Your Way. And in the program, which meets on May 12th or starts on May 12th, goes through September 10th, you'll add at least 1,000 subscribers to your list, plus have a robust system in place to continue adding audience members, new eager beavers to your audience and converting them into clients. without having to force yourself to use platforms or do activities that aren't you. Blah. And all this within just 1 year, guaranteed. So Your Audience Your Way is a methodical step-by-step system. And all my students tell me that they love the step-by-step nature of it and appreciate it, that it's so broken down. So I wanted to show you the 5 overarching steps. And then a little bit later, I'm going to show you each of the modules, what we cover in each of the modules. So the 5 overarching steps that we cover are to know exactly who you're serving, to lay the right foundations, to attract the right people, to nurture loyalty and engagement, and to make irresistible offers. And doing that sets you free. And so this is for you whether you're starting from scratch, just beginning your business, maybe you've been in business for a while, but you have an unresponsive list that needs your love and attention. We'll find ways to do that, get them back. And whether you love or hate social media, this is right for you. And if you've been kind of working at this audience building thing and just seem to be stuck, it's small list that won't grow, this is definitely for you, especially if you're ready to just ramp up and make this business happen, ready to start working from anywhere, ready to start earning more money. So we're going to cut through chaos, any kind of chaos and overwhelm that you've experienced in the past or that you feel right now, to find the best way for you to reach and attract and serve the perfect audience for your business. And you're going to start by learning my 3 fail-proof techniques to clearly identify your perfect audience, the perfect audience for your business, the perfect audience for your personality and for your vision, the vision that you have for your business, so that you can't ever again say, I don't know who my audience is, and use that as a reason not to move forward. You will discover how to leverage your archetype that you may have discovered, and we'll go a lot more into it in the program, so that every step of the way in building your audience, you're building a custom system that truly feels like you and becomes something that you want to do rather than you resent having to do. Because this is our equation, right? When it's simple and it's aligned with who you are, then it's enjoyable. And when it's enjoyable, it becomes doable. When it's doable, you'll be more consistent at it. And what does consistency bring? Results, right? You will easily create the 3 non-negotiable foundational elements that you must use to add people to your audience. And you know what those are, right? Do I need to tell you? Opt-in freebie, landing page, and a nurture sequence. You're going to create those and they're going to be awesome. They're going to rock, so that you're ready for the floods of people that are going to start joining your world. And we've got templates and step-by-step guidance for this, not to mention feedback and review and coaching, etc., so that you can go from being confused about it to feeling confident about it. We're going to get you started with a list that you didn't know you had already. So there's a jumpstart list hiding in your closet. We'll bring that out. And so you can start right away with your jumpstart list and not waste time leveraging your audience. We also have a library of 20 plus step-by-step audience attraction instruction sheets. And so as you go about selecting which methods you're going to be using, you'll be able to select, check out of the library, so to speak, the ones that are pertinent to the way you're building your audience. And the thing that's cool about this whole process is that both with the instruction sheets and with my guidance and coaching, you'll always know exactly what you're doing. And that means you can ignore the rest. And I'm going to teach you, I taught you on Wednesday one of my methods of connecting with your audience, but I'll teach you the other 3 so deeply that people just want to be in your products. They want to buy your products and be in your programs. And you don't have to do any of that kind of yucky, sleazy feeling selling. And you'll create a plan to serve and help your audience at every stage of the relationship so that your interactions with them are always authentic and valuable and generous. Just the right formula. And then the 3-step process for monetizing your audience for maximum impact. And we have plug and play promotional email templates that you can use and model and add your material to as well. And that is this whole piece right here, this essential step is what allows you to finally increase your income, control your hours, and give yourself that freedom that you're that so many of you have as your North Star. And then finally, perhaps most valuable of all, I will help you cut through that fear that you may have recognized as you were hearing Gretchen's story, that doubt, that self-sabotage that so often holds entrepreneurs back. Working with my structure, working with me personally, you're going to feel empowered to act and motivated to continue. And you'll be supported all the way along. And you know, another component of that support and that empowerment is your fellow classmates. I have always had the experience of my class becoming a community, and it's really nice to see the level of support. And your guidance is so warm, so caring, so complete that it has just been magnificent. I can't think of another course that I've taken over the past many, many years that I've learned as much and been so supported through my learning. I appreciate Anne so much. So again, just to make sure you understand, this is about you adding at least 1,000 subscribers to your list, plus having a robust system in place to continue adding those eager new members and converting them into clients without forcing yourself to do things that go against the grain of who you are. It's a guaranteed outcome, and the cost of the program is only $197 a month. You can save a little bit of money if you pay in full, but to get started, $197 a month will get you in. The web address is youraudienceyourway.com/join. That's a checkout page that you can go to right now to get a summary of what you get and get into the program right away, because you will want to make sure that you get in before it fills up. Now, I have 1,000 followers in a year or double your money back guarantee that I wanted to just mention here again, because it's important that you understand what this is about. I'm very confident in my teaching, so I'm backing that up by giving you exactly this guarantee. Now, it requires that you come to classes and do the work. You know, it requires that you come to me for help if you're struggling, and that you do what I suggest, right? You have to work it. But we will keep at it until you're on track. And I know that if you truly hit the ground running in the program, you can do 1,000 followers in a year, 1,000 new audience members during our 4.5-ish months together. But for many people, laying the foundations and, you know, working through all the different pieces and stuff can take a little bit longer. So this guarantee is good for an entire year. Maria says, I'm really enormously grateful for this course. I love the depth and pace and just the step-by-step nature of it. Having a lot of material to refer to and a lot of ideas and templates means that I don't have to get discouraged. I can just keep on rolling. This has been a huge transformation from not knowing how to proceed or even having hope that I could grow beyond working with just people that I already know. My list is almost at 1,000 now, and there is no end in sight. Yay, Maria. And that was for, just FYI, that was for a second business that she was starting. So just a quickie on what it includes: 16 weeks of live training, plus lifetime access, obviously, to the class recordings. I say obviously because I think everybody offers that, but maybe they don't. Lifetime access to the recordings. You always have them to turn back to. Here are the modules that we cover. And obviously within each module, there's quite a bit of information, but this is the general topic. So the first one is mindset. Let's get that screwed on tight for the rest of the program. And then identifying your ideal client, using archetypes and knowing your strengths and preferences, and then creating your opt-in gift, your landing page and your email service provider, your autoresponders, AKA nurture sequence, JV activities, creating your dream team, multi-person online events like giveaways and summits. And there's all kinds of done for you content there. Webinars, social media, nurturing, newsletters, finding your voice, paid offers, promotional emails, and revving it up, which includes things like subject lines and statistics, measuring your success, etc. So that's what we cover in the 16 weeks. And then, of course, as I said, we have step-by-step guides to all of the major platforms, social media platforms, as well as the major kinds of other people's network activities. And for the technology, we have step-by-step follow me video instruction, like paint by numbers, because we don't want you to get stuck on any technology. Action assignments, also known as homework, keep you on track and focused on your highest leverage opportunities. Worksheets, templates, checklists, done for you content galore. And then our 5 get it done days to help you stay on top of your coursework and also to be getting the things done that are part of the coursework. These are fantastic opportunities to really implement in strong ways and we do that as a community virtually. Now, in our weekly coaching, yes, it's for asking questions and getting support and sharing wins and getting unstuck and receiving feedback and overcoming roadblocks. All of that happens in our coaching sessions. But the point that I want to make here is that, ideas are easy. It's the strategy and implementation that can be really tricky. And so these weekly coaching sessions are fantastic for setting strategy, for figuring out your strategy, for figuring out the actual actions that need to happen to get that implemented. There's always a lot of questions, and I find that's one of the things that's most valuable about the program is the ability to ask somebody. So what do you think about this? Is this working? Is this good? Should I do that? Should I do this? That's one of the hardest parts about being a solo entrepreneur is having to create everything in kind of a vacuum. So that's what we do in our coaching sessions weekly. And then our coaching sessions continue for 8 months. We meet monthly instead of weekly after the program officially closes. Desiree says, Linda's content was super helpful, achievable, and I really appreciated how hands-on Linda was. Additionally, Linda helped me and others decide what we wanted to do for a business in general. She also helped all of us really hone in on what we're doing, why, and who our ideal customer is. One thing that I absolutely loved about this was that we don't have to change who we are. We can be ourselves and still be successful. Amen, sister, to that. And then Julia Stege says, I was stuck in low list land for years before I met Linda Claire Puig. My list only grew by a few dozen to 100 names in a year, and my income had plateaued at 5 figures. Linda had told me that growing my list would be the key to a 6-figure business, and boy, was she right. My list more than doubled, and my income took a huge leap when I started using her strategies. So just a reminder that you also get 24 ready to go articles so that you can spend more time building your audience and lean into assistance in terms of nurturing your audience. This can get you on your scooter in terms of nurturing, and you can get down to writing your own articles later if you want to spend your time just focused on building your audience. So these are articles that you can go in and select. for yourself. And we have 600 plus to choose from on a huge variety of topics. So they work for almost everyone, like 97%. And then this is the one that you need to pay special attention to right now. This is a bonus for boot camp only people. People who have watched this will see it or have watched the replay. So you who are here and you who will be watching the replay, this is for you. If you join the program by Sunday night at midnight Pacific, and that's May 1st, you will get a one-on-one consultation with me. This is my opportunity to look in depth at what you've put together in terms of your plan. Like, we'll go over bits and pieces of it throughout the program as we're doing our coaching sessions and stuff. But this is very specifically looking at you and your audience plan and every little piece that's in it. And then I can give you like an official stamp of approval. That's ready to go. Or this needs to happen, and then it'll be ready to go. And I had a question that came in yesterday that asked, so what happens if, you know, the stamp of, you have the session and it's not quite right and I need to go and do something else, you know, do I get another session with you to get your stamp of approval? Like, don't worry about it. If we need another session, we'll do that, but most likely I'll just be sending you away to say, do this, and then I'll check it, and then I'll say, good, you're good to go. Okay, so I don't drop anyone. So again, the link to join is youraudienceyourway.com/join. You can get started today for just $197, or you can pay in full and save a little bit of money for $14.97. And that's $197 a month for 9 months. Now, Lisa, the reason I wanted to share Lisa with you is Lisa was our last grand prize winner. And she had already signed up for the course before she won. So we just refunded her the money. But here's what Lisa had to say about this awesome opportunity she had to take the course for free. Before taking Linda's course, I knew the next step in my business was to grow my audience and extend my reach. But every time I grew my list, it would magically shrink within a couple of months. The math never seemed to work in my favor. Now, after taking Linda's course, I know exactly how to make the math work and how to make it work consistently. The best part is the formula is not dependent on my social media reach or ads. Thanks, Linda, for giving me the skills to easily grow my audience, bring my strengths to the table, and have fun doing it. So when you build your audience your way without all the overwhelm and in a way that really syncs up with who you are, you'll discover, as I did in my magical sabbatical, that your audience will set you free, whatever your definition of freedom is. You know, free to explode your business because people are coming into your programs in droves. Free financially, yes, to all of us being free financially, right? And to being able to send occasional emails, like to travel for a year and send occasional emails and support yourself that way. Or to, you know, spend more time with grandkids or kids. That kind of freedom is precious. Freedom to travel the world, experience all those bucket list places and adventures because your audience supports you. And then just free in general, like free to create the lifestyle that you've always wanted for yourself. Just free. So here's our link again, youraudienceyourway.com/join. And there's one last thing that I wanted to share with you really quickly before we do the drawing. I think, well, if you were here for the first day, or if you listen to the recording, you'll hear me just mention briefly that when my son was 9 years old, his father was killed in a car accident in which my son was also involved, but fortunately was not hurt. And it was interesting going through his belongings because I found this book, The Scottish Himalayan Expedition. It was written by a fellow in 1951. And it was a book that contained one of my all-time favorite quotes. So I just felt it was very synchronistic that he was reading that at the time of his death, and that it contains one of my all-time favorite quotes. And I think it's an appropriate one for you that I'd like to share with you. It's concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no human could have dreamt would have come his way. In other words, until you decide, nothing will change. But when you decide, once you decide, magic happens. So I invite you to join me in Your Audience Your Way, and let's see what kind of magic we can make together. So now, drum roll, please. Just a reminder, if you did Monday's homework and turned it in, you got one entry. And if you did Wednesday's homework, you got another entry. And so some of you did both homeworks in one email, and that's cool. We made sure that we got your name in there twice. So we have combed through all the lists, made sure that we included everybody who needed to be included, who did the work and did the homework and submitted it. And first of all, I thank you for that. I love feeling the participation in what I'm teaching, so thank you. And so now I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Actually, I'm going to change where I'm sharing my screen. First, I'm going to stop it. Hold on. And then I get to see all your faces again. There we go. So just so you know, this, all of the names, all of the entries, 448 of them have already been loaded up in this. And all I'm going to do is click to spin it, and then it will land on a name and show us who the winner is. So I am going to click to spin. Enrique Landaeta. Congratulations, Enrique, you have won, and we will be in touch with you. Elizabeth, please make sure you get that email address. Congratulations. All right. So let me just share my screen so I have that. Just so in case you need it, there's the link to join while we're doing questions, just so you have that information. So questions, what kinds of questions do you have for me?
All right. So there's a few. Let's see. I'll begin at the top. So can I really build an audience without using any social media?
Yes, I have. And I know a lot of people who also have. It's absolutely possible. In fact, the ways that we build audience that don't include social media are many times, if not always, more effective even than social media.
Got it. And so the opposite, what if I want to use social media?
Then great. I love people who know what they want to do, right? That's totally fine. And there are ways that each and every platform has to augment your audience building, to make that something that you do and that serves you and grows your audience. So we also cover that too.
Thank you. what if I can't make the live calls?
Every single call is recorded. For the training calls, those are, well, everything's posted in our teaching platform. So you can always go and review the recording of the training call. And for the coaching calls, if you can't be there for the coaching, then you can submit a question in advance. I'll cover the question on the call, and then you can watch the response on the recording.
Got it. What about people who have other personal priorities in the month of May? Like, should they, yeah, what do you suggest for them?
Well, the month of May is actually an easy one to answer because our orientation session is on May 12th. Our actual training starts on May 17th. So you're only going to be missing, I think, maybe 2. If you had to miss them at all, you would only miss 2 of the first modules, and you could easily catch up. And also you could attend, and it wouldn't, break the time bank, so to speak. I think that's fine.
Okay. And then you might have you've answered this, but what kind of support comes with after the program ends? Yeah.
Yeah, so we have tons and tons of support during the program, and then when the program ends, then we start meeting monthly. And it's like a big party because everybody misses each other and can't wait to see each other. And it's a coaching session, obviously. So we do an awful lot of coaching. It's a great way to kind of for me to keep tabs on what you're doing, make sure that it's going well, for you to ask questions as things are rolling out. I know that in one of my cohorts, a group of 4 women had gotten together to do a big giveaway. They co-hosted this giveaway event, and they were in the process of running through, first getting up to start date of the giveaway, and then actually doing the giveaway while we were doing our monthly coaching session. So it was an opportunity for me to weigh in on what they were doing and troubleshoot a little bit and, give some advice, et cetera. So yeah, that's what we do afterwards.
Thank you. For people who aren't comfortable in sharing their ideas or content in a group setting, what do you suggest?
Yeah, I did have an email about that. The thing that I want to, first of all, at the beginning in our orientation, there's a commitment basically that everybody makes or will be making, to keep things private, like what happens here stays here, kind of like Vegas. And certainly information and ideas and content are private, and not only private, but proprietary, right? So sometimes an idea spurs another idea, but obviously nobody in the class would want to take an idea and rip it off, so we have such a beautiful audience that would never even occur to me to happen. So I have no concerns about that whatsoever. So yeah, I think that you'll discover that when you get in there and you see the people that are all there also striving and working to create their own stuff, it's not the kind of program, the kind of people that join my program don't rip people off.
Thank you. So for someone that already has a list, an audience, what would be the next step for them?
Well,
like in the program? Yeah.
the only reason that I would say you wouldn't join my program if you have a list already is if you're doing exactly what you want to be doing to grow it, and it's working and you're growing and everything's, smooth as silk. There aren't a lot of people in that situation. So generally speaking, I get people who either are new and starting an audience, or newly online and starting an audience, or I get people who have some experience with that, but either it's not going gangbusters like they want it to, or they're just not sure what's missing that's keeping it from growing, So if you want to grow your audience, even if you already have one, it's a good place to be.
Thank you. Okay, so this one's from Ruthie. It says, she's asking, is there a lot of work in putting together a course?
Is there a lot of work in putting together a course?
Yeah, she's asking, isn't there a lot of work in
Oh,
putting?
isn't there a lot of work?
Yeah,
And you're talking about your own course, right?
yeah. I'm assuming
Yeah.
that's what Ruthie's asking.
Yeah. It sort of depends on how you approach it. One of my favorite teachers in the area of courses is a fellow named Danny Iny, I-N-Y is the way his last name is spelled, with the company Mirasee, M-I-R-A-S-E-E. And what Danny teaches is that you create a pilot first. And so that pilot is your opportunity to really discover what needs to be in a course and discover what people respond to and how they, what they want to learn and how they feel about the learning and whatnot. And it's a really great way to start a course. And so if you use that method, I don't think it's like an oppressive amount of work. I think it's more like experimenting to see what works. And then once you have a good sense of what your course is going to be and whatnot, then there's work to create modules and stuff like that. But I don't consider it a hugely oppressive kind of activity at all.
Got it. There's a question about the guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's, you double their money if they don't reach 1,000 followers. What if someone is not happy with the program, after 30 days? Like, is there?
Yeah, that's not the way we do our guarantee. We have a results-based guarantee. But honestly, if somebody was deeply disappointed and could tell me why and it sounded reasonable, then I would consider, a way for that person to, to find another thing that would serve them better. So we've actually never had anybody ask for a refund after 30 days. So all I can say is we'll talk. and I'm reasonable.
Awesome. And plus, I mean, people join this, they want the result probably more than anything. So
absolutely. Yeah.
So Cher asked about, how do you get people into the freebie? Is that with ads or just social media or something else?
I don't teach on ads because I don't believe it's necessary. And there are a variety of ways to get eyeballs onto your freebie. I mean, that's kind of the essence of audience building, right? Is where are your people and how do you get them over to look at your freebie? So we go through all of the different, we have the library full of all of the different step-by-steps for the various social media platforms. And then we go through some of the other people's network ideas for how to get eyeballs on you. It's all about getting in front of people, right? So that's really the crux of the middle of the course. You got to be ready to take them in. You got to prepare your foundations, but then you got to find them and get them over there. So there are a variety of ways, and it would be much better if you were in the class and telling me about your business and your style and your experience, et cetera, that, and then I could really recommend something.
Got it. Anna asked, does this program apply to fictional novel authors? I think you said this in the past, but maybe you can share like how this applies and just as an example.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who wants to develop an audience, sometimes publishers, before they will agree to publish your book, they want you to have a platform. That means audience in their book. And so, yeah, there are ways for a novelist to build an audience as well. And the last cohort that we had one, Elizabeth, help me out. I think we had one fiction writer and then a woman who works with fiction writers. So yeah, bottom line is, yeah, it's to build your audience, and you got to go through the same processes that anybody else does to figure out, what your audience would be interested in, a reason for them to opt in, et cetera, et cetera.
Got it. Andrew asked, what if someone doesn't have any expertise at this time? Are they still a good fit for the program? Or
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you know what, if you, first of all, you probably have expertise that you don't know about. Second of all, if you don't have expertise, there are ways of getting it. The first thing is to find out what you're interested in, what you want to do, what your vision is. And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Francine asked, do you cover how to find your audience? And
Yes.
yes, yeah.
Yes.
Let's see. There's a question from Miriam, I believe that's the name. Does the library continue to be available after the program ends?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the library doesn't close its doors.
And I might not be saying this right, Aberl, how frequently should you email your list?
That's a good question, and one that a lot of people have. And what I recommend is that you send something of a nurture email nature at least once a week. When you're getting started, okay, I'll give you a few months to get geared up, right? And so you can maybe do it a couple times a month, but really you want to be connecting with your audience at least once a week, because otherwise they forget about you. It's just the nature of email. So at least once a week with a nurture something. And then, I during non-launch times, I will typically email my list 3 times a week. And during a launch, it's daily. So, and I have a couple of colleagues that email their list every single day, and they've found a way to make it really desirable for their audience. Like, it's not a bother. So anyway, at least once a week, and depending on your situation and your business and where you are, et cetera, we could come up with a more specific number of emails or types of emails and quantity that you should be sending a week.
You got it. Margaret asks, is there a estimate of how many hours of work is required each week? Yeah. So how many hours should someone dedicate each week into the program?
Each week is different. So on average, I'm saying 3 to 5 hours per week. So some weeks might be less, some weeks might be more, but that's a decent average. And then there's always an opportunity for additional work time when we do our get it done days. And that's a good chance to catch up on anything that you're missing in terms of class, or to make progress on the things that you're creating as a result of being in class. So that's about, so we have 5 of those. And if you were to come to all 5, that would give you an extra approximately 8 hours each time of working.
Got it. RH asked, sounds like that person had, what if I already have a niche audience and their emails?
What if you already have a niche audience and their emails?
Yeah.
Then you have the beginnings of a good audience.
So then the next step after that would be nurturing and then monetizing them.
Yeah, and growing it.
Yeah.
Audiences grow and shrink. People subscribe and unsubscribe. So you always want to be doing, always want to be doing audience building activities throughout the year. But yeah, that's, you build your audience, then you nurture them, then you make offers.
Perfect. Cheryl asked earlier, how do you price done for you products?
That's a good question. It depends. Generally speaking, a done for you product is going to be on the lower price end. But in general, when you price things, you want to look at what's the value that somebody's getting, what's the time that they're saving, what's the delight that's happening for them? What's the big need that they have? Like, will it be satisfying some huge need? And all of that goes into the process of pricing something, as well as a little bit of research to see if there's anything else that you can kind of just look for information purposes, not to match necessarily their pricing, but just to understand it.
Thank you. Miriam Rose and actually Diane, so they're both in two other courses, which is, I think, very, very common.
Yeah.
And they're asking, when will you offer this program again? But I also want to add on top of that, should someone already be someone who's already in two other courses or three other courses take your course? Like, why or why not?
Well, it kind of depends on your time availability, right? If you have the time that you could take an additional course, what I will say about this one is it's super foundational to anything else that you'll be doing in terms of your business. It's not just super foundational, it's critically importantly foundational. So in terms of priorities of other programs, and I'm not doing this just because it's my program, but I would put it at the top or very close to the top in terms of what you're studying. So that's one thing. Second thing is I am not offering this again this year, and I have not decided if I'm offering it next year. I just don't know yet what next year's going to be like or bring. So even if I did offer it again next year, then that would still be an entire year that you're waiting to build your audience. So I would really encourage you to join right now, because even if you have to miss a class here and there, at least you'll have all of the information accessible. At least you'll be able to submit questions for coaching. If you can't make the live session, I think it's that important of a foundational course.
Thank you. Anne asks, when does this start? So when does the program start?
Our orientation call is May 12th, and then the first training call is May 17th. Generally speaking, the training calls are on Tuesdays and the coaching calls are on Thursdays. And there's one training call and one coaching call that we need to change the date because I'll be flying in transit. So, but in general, it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we also have the week of July 4th off.
Let's see. So Miriam actually is asking a follow-up to what you said.
Mm-hmm.
So she's concerned that she's not going to be able to complete the program on time. And if she can't, then how can she bring questions to be coached on?
Well, the program continues for 8 months with coaching for 8 months. So there's always that. I've had somebody ask, what if how does that work into the guarantee, the year-long guarantee? Well, if you tell me I'm starting the class now, then that's when your guarantee will be good for, right? If you can't start with us at the very beginning, then you tell me when you're starting and we'll count it from a year hence. And in terms of, you getting your questions answered and your coaching needs met and whatnot, the monthly calls will be available to you. And, if you have a particular situation, we can see if there's a workaround. But we generally want you to come and participate because there's such value in being part of the group and hearing what others are working on and struggling with and whatnot. So.
Okay, well, yeah, Miriam Rose says, thank you, that helps. So Francine's asking, this is a good one. Are we always going to get our questions answered, or do you sort of just select the ones that will be answered?
I go for a long time on those coaching calls. It's my goal to answer everybody's question. I usually run out of voice at around 2 hours. So that's kind of the generally the tops, but I endeavor to answer everyone's questions all the time.
That's great. Very helpful. Those seems to be all the questions. Let me just scroll up. Yeah, Jane or Jan, I don't know if I'm saying that right, is asking about working on, is it possible to work on 2 programs, I'm assuming, at the same time?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
it's possible.
I think those are all the questions.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Well,
do you just want to repeat when the kind of deadline is for the
I do.
bonus with you? And then
I do.
yeah.
Yeah, I do. I wanted to mention that. So for those of you who are here, and I'm delighted to see how many of you are still here. And for those of you who are watching a replay over the weekend, then just know that you have until Sunday night, that's May 1st at midnight Pacific, to join the program in order to get the bonus that is my review, my one-on-one session with you to review your plan. You'll create this plan, you know, in class, and after a certain point in the class, you'll be ready with your plan, so to speak. And so then you can consult with me about that. I'll give you the thumbs up or the thumb sideway, needs a little work or something like that. Anyway, that one-on-one session with my stamp of approval at the end is your bonus. And that's something you need to understand, that I don't do one-on-one sessions. So these are out of the ordinary, but I was looking for different ways that I could support my my new cohort of students, and that was one way that occurred to me as a way to support you. So if you want that, you'll need to join by Sunday night at midnight.
Perfect. And then any other questions that anyone else has, please send an email to kleinecare@clairecommunications.com. Lizzie will put that in the chat because I know there's a couple questions about Canadian help, which I'm not really clear on. So, so is there anything else that you want to share before we wrap up, Linda? Any final words?
No, we've had students from all over the world to join. So I don't know what the Canadian question is, but we definitely have welcomed plenty of Canadians into the program, and then those from around the world. We try to make the program at a time when the most number of people around the globe can actually be there. So we take you Australians into consideration, and you Singaporeans and whatnot. But you know, it's sometimes might involve getting up a little early or staying up a little bit late. But we endeavor to help as many people as we can all around the world. I just welcome everybody. I can't wait to work with you, and I would love to see you. And it's been such a pleasure being here with you these 3 sessions. And I hope that you've gotten a lot out of it, whether you study with me or not, that is helpful to you in taking your business forward. And I wish you all a wonderful weekend. So take care, everyone.